So I have a little bit of a confession to make. So I started out as a Super Mario fan, but then somewhere along the lines, I became a Sonic fan. So in a way, I disowned Mario. Here's how. Now look, growing up, I was always a Super Mario fan. Now see the reason for that, it wasn't necessarily because I thought Super Mario was superior to Sonic the Hedgehog. It was just more so because that was actually the first game that I ever played. Now, when I was younger, I believe this had to be around like, because I'm 31 now, 31, still aging clearly, but 31, and this had to be around like 98, maybe. Somebody actually had got me the Nintendo 64, like, as a child, so that was actually one of the first times that I actually discovered, or I guess you could say that's the first time I actually played the system, if I'm not mistaken, because, I have a good memory, but like when I think back, like, I think that was like legit the first real system that I owned. Now, the first thing that I ever had, it was a Nintendo 64. Now, as you guys know, like when the Nintendo 64 had came out, like the brand exclusive, the brand exclusive was the Super Mario 64. So that was actually one of my favorite games of all time, and even still to this day. But I'm gonna tell you how like I ended up becoming a Sonic fan. Now, every now and then I would actually go over to like my family's place, because they stayed a little further away from me, but when I went over there, that was actually the first time where I experienced the Sega Genesis. Now, although they had the Sega Genesis, now they used to always play Sonic. They play Sonic and everything like that, but the one, even though they played it a lot, like I didn't necessarily gravitate towards it like until a little bit later on into my childhood. But like that was actually the first time that I was like introduced to Sonic, like formally, like I was introduced to Sonic, so like but even then, like I was still team team Super Mario. So later on, I guess we could, moving, a little bit further into my childhood. Now, a best friend of mine's, like he actually had the GameCube. And what I would do is like, I would go over to his place and everything, and like, we would always hang out. So he always had like, he had a PS2 and everything like that. Now, if you take a look at, some of my other videos, like I told you guys that like I had the PS2 later on towards the ending of his life cycle. By the time I had got it, like, the PS3 was pretty much about to come out. But I would always go to his place and like we would, like I said, he had GameCube. He had, I don't know if y'all remember that game, Rayman. Like he had Rayman, we would play that. I forgot, I think it was Rayman Arena. So like that would be like a, it was a racing game, but it was like an on-foot racing game. You feel me? So like that game was actually fun. Now I knew of Rayman prior. Like I've actually knew of Rayman because my I used to go over to my godmother's place who stayed in they stayed in the Bronx. So like I would always play that, not necessarily Rayman Arena, but like it would be like Rayman. So I already knew of Rayman by the time like, I played it at my friend's place. Now, with the GameCube, he actually had the reason why I ended up disowning Mario for Sonic was Sonic Adventure Battle 2. Now, when I tell you Sonic Adventure Battle 2 like literally encapsulates like my childhood, like, and then not only Sonic the character, like, as a whole, but then like in the gameplay, but also like the soundtrack. Like, just like how I mentioned in my my Xbox video about how like, with Jet Set Radio is one of my favorite games, like Sonic Adventure Battle 2 is also like, I guess you could say, like if I had like, if there was like a top 5, like, it's in my top 5. Like Sonic Adventure Battle 2 is in my top 5. And the music, like the music is timeless. Like the music is definitely timeless. Like I always go back, like, when I'm on YouTube every now and then, when I kind of get that urge to like listen to like some Sonic music, to kind of like bring back some nostalgic memories, like I'll always go back to listen to the soundtrack for Sonic Adventure Battle 2. So I got into that, and we'd always play it, and then it was City Escape. I know you guys remember City Escape. So the first time I ever played City Escape, man, I was like replaying it, and then the song would get stuck in your head. Like that song, I can't tell you, like even to this day, like I could just be minding my business, I could be out randomly, and I just start randomly either singing it, or like I'll just be, it'll just be in my head, so um with that being said, like I would always like play that game. So, and it's crazy because I never owned a GameCube, even though I was like, you know, I was like Team Nintendo at first. Like once the, you know, like once like the Xboxes and like the, you know, all the next gen PlayStation games or, you know, PlayStation consoles started to come out, like I kind of low key left Nintendo behind, you know. But yeah, but and as far as Sonic goes, like I'm actually a fan of the movies as well. You know, like I was kind of like a little shaky on like, because I know you guys remember like when they first came out with the first trailer for like the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie that came out a couple of years back. Now I remember like they had got a lot of backlash, you know, because like the you know, like the design of the character of Sonic the Hedgehog looked crazy. And still to this day, like I don't know, like I wanted, like was that like a business strategy? Like was that like, did they do that on purpose in order to like, you know, cause like, you know, controversy and then, you know, go back to the drawing boards just to like make it in a way that they probably already intended to make it to begin with, but you know, being that they were trying to like, or I guess you could say quote unquote trying to cause controversy, you know, that ended up being that. But yeah, like I was kind of like skeptical at first because like I said, you notice that like what's that video game to movie adaptations are not really that good, you know. So they've always had a bad track record, you know, when it comes to stuff like that, you know. Even like if we take it back to Super Mario, like you know, I know you guys remember like the movie from like the early 90s, what's that, the Super Mario movie, and to be honest, that movie was terrible. Like I actually, as a child, you know, or not as a child, but like, you know, it's a little bit later on into my childhood, you know, I started, you know, around like my teenage years, where like I actually watched it for the first time. And mind you, I never even knew that they had a Super Mario movie prior to like me even watching it, you know. So, you know, I watched it and I'm like, yeah, this looks terrible. And like, see, the thing is like with Super Mario, like I don't like it. I mean, and this also goes for like Sonic the Hedgehog, like those are, you know, those are things that's not really meant to be like live action, you know. So the Super Mario movie didn't work because it was live action, but then when you watch the current one, it's you know, it's actually good, you feel me, because like you could tell like these people are actually fans of, you know, like Super Mario as well as like what's that, I guess you could say Sonic as well. But moving back to Sonic, like I'm being that, okay, so when it comes to like the live action, you know, I guess you could say portion of Sonic, like I was not necessarily a fan of that because, you know, okay, like I understand like in the first movie, like you're trying to like, you know, you're trying to get the story moving and everything like that, and like, you know, I don't necessarily want to spoil it for anybody, but you know, I know you guys at the beginning of the movie, like, you know, they use, or I guess you could say like they use it's live action. All of the movies are live action, but I noticed they started to like tone the live action portion of the movie down once it started to like progress later on into the series, you know. Because if you take a look at part 3 with Dr. Eggman, or Dr. Robotnik as, you know, some people call him, he was really like the only he was the only like human character in the movie. Like, you know, I mean, of course you had the couple, you know, but like the to be honest, I think that, you know, like the directors of the movie or like the writers of the movie, like they kind of felt like the couple, you know, like they kind of already like served their purpose in the story. So that's why you kind of didn't really see much of them until like you know, you didn't really see much of them, you know, I guess you could say like in the third movie, because I mean, to be honest, like there's really no use for them. Like we're not here for the human characters, we're here for Sonic, you know, Tails and Knuckles, you know, and all the rest of the, you know, rest of the characters, you know. And I do like the fact that they implemented, I like how they implemented the you know, every movie, like with every movie, like it's kind of like with the Marvel, you know, like with the post-credit thing, what they do with the Marvel, like, you know, with the Marvel movies, like they always introduce a new character, you know. So, you know, you got to sit down and you got to wait for like the next you gotta wait for like the credits to end, and then like, you know, because if I'm not mistaken, like they introduced and I'm sorry if I'm spoiling it for anybody, but I'm pretty sure, like, you know, if you guys are fans, I'm not gonna lie, like if you guys are fans of Sonic like how I am, I'm pretty sure you already know this, so this shouldn't come as a spoiler to anyone. But Amy, like they introduced Amy at the ending of part 3, so, but it was like in a post-credit scene. I kind of, like I said, like I like how they do that. Now, don't get me, now I'm not gonna lie, like even though I just kind of said that, like y'all should already know, especially, you know, being that I'm assuming that most people that come to this video are Sonic fans. So, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm like, you know, y'all might get on me in the comment section, but I'm gonna be honest, like I didn't know about the Amy post-credit scene until a couple of months after the fact. Like I didn't. So y'all might get me in the comment section. I'm not even gonna lie. But what's that? Aside from that, like, yeah, man, like it was just something. It's something about Sonic that kind of made me gravitate more so towards him. And then on top of that, this is another thing that I kind of like failed to mention as well. My favorite color is blue. So the shade of blue that Sonic is, that's literally my favorite color, you know. So he's blue, and then also I just feel like he's just way cooler than Super Mario, like, you know. Don't get me wrong, like I'll still play Super Mario games to this day, but I will say that there was a point in time where like Sonic wasn't really like the best when it came to like video games, like, because I know you guys remembered what was it? I think it was Sonic the Hedgehog 2006. Yeah, that one, they said that was probably like one of the most glitchiest video games in like video gaming history, you know. And I remember I had it for the PS3. No, did I have? No. I actually had the demo. I had the demo for the PS3 and I played it a couple of times. Now, it didn't really occur to me that like it was like really, you know, glitchy and buggy until like, you know, later on, once, you know, YouTube started to get a little bit bigger, and then you start to see all of these Sonic you know, reviews. And Sonic, when it came to like, you know, like the worst games of all time, or I guess you could say like you know, whenever they would do a list of like the worst Sonic games of all time, like Sonic 06 would always be on that list. And like that's something, like I said, like I was never really like cognizant of it, because you know, when you're young and you just playing the game, like you're not necessarily worried about, you know, frame rates and everything like that, and performance and like fidelity mode and everything. Like you just want to play the game. But yeah, that's like something that like I kind of noticed, you know. And then Sonic Unleashed was fire. I remember you know, Sonic Unleashed, you know, that one was kind of good. Like I might have to go back and play that. But then again, don't get me wrong, as a matter of fact, what really cemented, because I was already thinking about it, like I was already a Sonic fan since Sonic Adventure Battle, you know, 2, you know, or just Sonic Adventure Battle in general, like the series in general, but mostly the one with what's that, City Escape. But what really cemented me as like a lifelong Sonic fan outside of Sonic Adventure Battle 2 was when they came out with Sonic Generations. When they came out with Sonic Generations, as a matter of fact, they actually just recently I'm actually going to put some gameplay of Sonic Generations in here for, you know, for you guys to, you know, watch, you know, as I'm like commentating over this. But yeah, like when they did Sonic Generations, like I think that's probably like the best, that gotta be like one of the best Sonic games. Like out of all Sonic games, that's probably like top 3. Like, and I just recently got Sonic X Shadow Generations. Like that one, that is fire. Like I'm so much of a fan of Sonic to the point where like I like, don't get me wrong, I like Shadow as well. Like I like Shadow, but I don't really play the Shadow portion of it, you know. Like I was waiting, because if they didn't come out with that, now I still have my PS3, but like if they didn't come out with that, like I would have had to like literally go on Amazon or somewhere to try to like find Sonic Generations, because that was the one game that I kind of regret selling that game, because when I was younger I used to go to GameStop a lot, like, you know, and you know how like GameStop kind of has like the you know, you could trade in games and stuff like that, and like, you know, you could sell games. So I used to do that heavy. There was a point where I was doing that heavy, and like I guess like somewhere along the lines Sonic Generations got sold, you know, and then years later, you know, I started to regret it, like damn, I should have kept that. But yeah, like with Sonic Generations, like they have I like how they did City Escape, and I like how they did like the modern Sonic and then like the classic Sonic. You know, like I use both. Like I use both, especially like, remember Chemical Plant? Chemical Plant? Y'all can't tell me Chemical Plant is probably like one of the best like theme songs to like a level like in any video game ever. Like that's another one that I go to listen to. Like even though it was like on the 8-bit back in the day with the what's that, with the Sega Genesis, like that music still sound fire for some reason. Like they really knew what they was doing. Like they definitely knew what they was doing. And also I heard that like they sampled like certain songs, like you know, certain Sonic songs, like they actually sample, because like there's actually a video on YouTube that you could watch where like they're actually putting like the actual Sonic, like the 8-bit song that came from like the Sega Genesis days, like right next to like, you know, a regular song, and then like you could hear like the similarity. So you could tell that they kind of got like some sort of like you know, like influence from like, you know, certain like American music. What's that? Another thing that I kind of didn't mention, like, you know, going back to like the Sonic movies, I really love how they did in the third movie where they took and they had Sonic, and because you know he had like the Chaos Emerald, so they had Sonic and Shadow fight, and when they played Live and Learn, like it's crazy. So I was there like with my girl at the time, so like I don't think she understood the gravity of what was going on screen. Like I'm not gonna lie, like I ain't gonna lie, I low-key had chills like when they started playing that. So they played that, and then on top of that, I'm actually a big fan of Dragon Ball Z. You can't tell me that they didn't take some sort of like inspiration from Dragon Ball Z, like with that ending fight, like that ending fight on the you know, when they was fighting in space, like Sonic and Shadow. Like, yeah, that looked like they was playing Live and Learn while they was fighting like Vegeta and Goku. Like, so I'm like, oh yeah, see, like Mario can't do that. Like Super Mario can't do that. You feel me? Like he's super. Like I don't even know why Super is in the name. But I'm not gonna like, you know, stomp on Mario, because I do still like Mario. I definitely still like Mario. You know, as a matter of fact, so I actually still have my Nintendo 64. See, so this is the one that I just mentioned, you know, earlier in the video about how, you know, someone actually got me as a child. So I still have this now, mind you. I actually don't have any more. I don't have any games for it. Like I don't know what happened to the games. Like I don't know. I guess when I was moving, maybe like I don't know. It kind of got lost. You know, when I moved from my last apartment to my apartment that I live in now, or I don't know. But I still have this. I still have the wires. Now I just recently got like a I believe it was called an HDMI converter. You know, in order to be able to play my Xbox. Now my first Xbox, because I mean, as you guys can see in the background, like I have more of a modern TV. So, you know, I know you guys remember the colored wires, like, you know, like the red one, the white one, and the yellow one. Like clearly, like these modern TVs don't take that at all. So I had to get like a little converter. What's that? A little converter, and then. What's that? I was actually able to play like my, you know, my Xbox for the first time in like a very long period of time. Like it was a minute. Like it was a minute since the last time I played it, you know. And I was actually surprised that I actually still had my you know, I still have like my controller as well, like for the Xbox. But like I actually still have this clearly, and then let's see. I know I still have my and I still got the controller. So I want to find a way to be able to like play this again, you know? So, but like I said, that's that, you know, as I said before, I'm a big Sonic fan, you know, but I still got Super Mario memories, you know, but that's my story on how low key I'm not gonna lie, I just completely disown Mario for Sonic, like, you know. So, but other than that, like, I want you guys to like answer something for me in the comment section. Now, I want you guys to answer something for me in the comment section. Now, I want you guys to tell me, like, who do you prefer, Sonic the Hedgehog or Super Mario? And also, like, when it comes to like video games, who games do you prefer, Sonic or Mario? And then, because we're gonna go down like the whole list. So as a character, Sonic or Mario. Video game wise, Sonic or Mario. Who do you got? And movie wise, Sonic or Mario. You guys let me know in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. You know, just, you know, like I said, like leave a comment, let me know who you like better, and we can definitely discuss it in the comment section, okay? Until then, everyone have a nice day, and thank you for watching.